Facebook removing the fact checkers and the entire Meta platform doing the same thing sends one clear message. This is coupled with Elon Musk's ownership of Twitter, which is now X, and of course the TikTok ban that is happening on January 19th, only 8 days away. It means that the main platforms of social media have aligned themselves with the right. The United States has not seen an entire rightward shift like this since Ronald Reagan was the president, so 40 years. And because of America's footprint on social media worldwide, that means that we are going to start to see a major rightward shift planet-wise. TikTok being banned in the United States means that there is going to be a vacuum of social media for over 170 million users. Most likely, the other social media platforms will rush in to fill this gap, or maybe some new ones made in America will start to arise. With the exception of Blue Sky and a few smaller footprint social media platforms, it will all be rightward oriented. The only difference between the Reagan administration rightward alignment of the entire country versus today is that Reagan did not have social media on his side. During the first Trump administration, we saw a huge influx of conservative judges all across the country, and we are going to see much more of that in the second one. Starting January 20th of this year, the conservatives will be in full control of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the Supreme Court. The most potent version of the press is social media, and it looks like social media will also be in the hands of conservative thought. When there is this type of a political shift in all three branches of government, you will start to see blatant stretches of constitutional law. That's inevitable at this point. It will seem like forever before we start to see the liberal side get more favorable candidates again, and the left has nobody to blame but themselves. And I say this as someone who voted for Kamala Harris. The Democrat politicians eschewed issues that were affecting the majority of the population and tried to appeal to the extreme left while looking like they could be center-right. They chose to give voice to positions that talk more about virtue signaling than actual economic struggle that people were going through on a day-to-day basis. They weren't talking about people having problems getting basic groceries or paying their rent. And instead of trying to unify, shut their egos down to try to get something good done, they chose to be solipsistic and only wanted to voice the concerns that their own individual regional constituents were addressing instead of national concerns. Republicans did not have this problem. They understood that they had their differences that they would never fully compromise on long term, but short term, they kept their mouths shut, they stayed unified, they repeated the same message, and they rallied behind one candidate, criticism free. At least the people who were actually on the side of the Republican who won. And the way the Democrats campaigned in the 2024 election is going to cost them any blue wave that could have happened in 2026. The ray of hope I'd like to provide is the 1984 election in which 49 states voted for Ronald Reagan over Walter Mondale. This was seen by many as the total death of the Democratic Party, yet in 1992, Bill Clinton got elected because the Democrats realized how screwed up they were, and they actually got their mess together. And this is exactly what the Democrats need to do, starting yesterday. Because if they don't, it won't take 8 years for us to reclaim any major form of political power in this country. We may see an entire red generation because of the amplification of these platforms over social media. And the only way you guys are going to manage that is if you stop giving a platform to the extreme left and figure out what is actually going on in the middle, which represents the vast majority of our population, especially our youth. I am the Geo-Hussar, the virtue signaling, the solipsism, and the lip service of the Democratic politicians to the left have set us in a direction that we haven't seen since before most of you were born. You need to wake up, you need to grow up, and you need to change for the better.